You're preparing for AWS AI Practitioner or AI Foundation Certification, that's AIF C01, then in this video, I'm going to cover everything that you must know in order to prepare for this certification, including the documentation link that you probably might be getting from AWS, including things like what to prepare for this exam or how to prepare for the exam and everything right from documentation to the exam topics I'm going to cover in this video. Now, to give you some context, the video has been taken from our AWS AI and machine learning job-oriented program. So you might hear some references about that program. So you can please skip that part or that ignore that part. But that everything that I've covered, where you will be having full access to that video as well. And now, if you're new to this channel, just very quickly about me, my name is Atul. I've been in IT for more than or close to 2.5 decades, 24 years as of time of recording this video, working on cloud, machine, DevOps, cloud, multi-cloud, and then last 2-3 years have been on AI, machine learning, and generative AI as well. So whatever I'm going to cover, you will be getting everything. And if you have any questions, and below this video, you will have a link where you'll be getting access to this full guide and all the links as well. So make sure you watch this and then download the guide and keep it with you handy and prepare notes as well. If any questions, doubts on this video, please leave them in the comment section. And I'll make sure that I respond to every question I get on this under the comment section on this video as well. So now go and get it and prepare with me on AWS AI Practitioner Foundation Certification. That's AIF C01. So let's play that video for you. Hey there, this is Atul from team K21 Academy, and in this video, I'm going to talk everything that you need to know if you're planning to appear for AWS Practitioner, AWS AI Practitioner, also called AWS AI Foundation Certification. That's AIF C01. Now, we'll cover everything in terms of when I say the top domain-wise topics that you should be doing, what each of those domain consists of, what the percentage-wise, but I'm also going to cover some of the commonly asked questions like, oh, is this certification, which is AWS AI certification, even worth it or not? Who should this is for? I'm from this background, should I be doing? What the prerequisite for doing it? What should be the next one I should be doing? What are things or how do I practice the sample exam questions? I'm also going to give you the practice test that you will need to know or clear this certification as well. So everything that you need to know or understand in this certification, I'm going to cover that. Just to let you know, where do you find this? If you go under AWS, this certification, AWS AIF C01 certification, inside just immediately below quick link, this is where you will have this link as well. Now, in this on the quick link, I'll cover that separately, but let's first go straight into what you should be and who should be on a first high level, and then I'm going to go deeper into everything that you'll be learning. So first, this is a picture which is all overall certification. If you already know that, you can skip that part, but there are 4 categories, which is foundation and AI practitioner, which is also called as AI foundation. That's why the word AIF, and C01 is the numbering, which is the first or the first iteration of that. Similarly, you have AWS Cloud Practitioner, which is more about cloud services, where this AWS AI Foundation is or practitioner is more about AI related. Then you have associate level, which is things like AWS Solution Architect Associate, AWS Machine Learning Associate, which I'm going to talk towards end as well. Then developer, DevOps, and so on, or data engineer part as well that you will be doing. That you also have professional, which is like DevOps engineer or AWS Solution Architect professional version, and then you have a specialist, which is machine learning or networking or security specialist as well. So mainly you'll be working on AI practitioner, followed by and then AI machine learning associate, and then machine learning specialist as well. So this is the flow if you're working on, depending on what background you're doing. Now, so first and most important is understanding the exam structure. There are total 5 domains. In this, which is first one is about fundamentals of AI and machine learning, that consists of 20% of this certification. Then if fundamentals of generative AI, that you might be hearing ChatGPT, which is a big implementation on generative AI, what all fundamentals of that, that's around 24%. Then the 28%, which is the foundation model. So for everything in generative AI revolves around foundation model. So how do you apply those foundation models in a day-to-day operations or day-to-day business applications? And industry-wise, that's around 28%. Domain 4 is about all about guidelines for responsible AI, which is 14%. And then security, governance, and governance of AI solutions compliance of is around 14% of this exam topic. And if you go at the bottom of these things, I'm going to cover explain topic wise, but then first, before I go and pick up this first common question, which is about is it even worth doing that? Who should it be, right? And who should be performing this as well? Now, the answer to the question is it even worth? Is will depend on what your background is, what your goals are, and how do you plan to use AI or machine learning in your professional career life as well. And to help you understand, I've documented this thing depending on the target audience you are. If you're a beginner or a non-technical professional, then answer will be slightly different than someone who is a technical professional like me, who is transitioning to AI and machine learning from an on-premise world, infrastructure world, or IT world into. So if you're a beginner and a non-technical professional, then the this will help you to understand the concepts of AI, machine learning, generative AI, deep learning overview and concept as well. It will be useful, especially for the person who works in a role that interact with either AI, machine learning, and given that generative AI is being implemented in pretty much will impact every person that you can think of, whether it's a sales analyst, whether it's a marketing person, whether it's a business analyst, whether it's a consultant, managers, technical managers, program manager, and if you're a non-technical person, this is definitely and want to explore something in AI, generative AI, machine learning, definitely will be helpful and a good starting point for you to learn. If you're a technical person, then you know that AI is pretty much used everywhere in technical space. Whatever you do, AI is definitely helpful. So you'll be learning in this the common AI services, specifically generative AI, which is Bedrock, and then machine learning services like SageMaker. You'll be learning, understanding the workflows as well. Now, what is the benefit of uh, having doing this certification? Probably, of course, it looks good on your resume. It will be someone AWS is vouching for you, saying that you know what AWS is talking about in terms of AI and machine learning and generative AI. So the foundation level, it will give you explain you things like SageMaker, as I said, or Bedrock, or recognition, or Lex, or a lot of other things like transcript, and then a lot of other managed AI services on AWS Cloud you'll be learning and understanding. Of course, recognition-wise, you know that if you say I'm a AWS certified consultant or AWS certified practitioner or a foundation person, then they probably will be having a good recognition in terms of at least you know something or better than someone else as well. It's also entry point for other learnings, like if you're going for machine learning associate, machine learning specialist, or going deeper other AI related certifications that will be helpful now. Now, what are the practical use cases of? If you're a non-technical person, then it will be roles related to that involves AI, machine learning, or collaboration with those teams as well. It will be helping. How do you communicate? How do you talk with those teams? It will be helpful as well. If you're a technical person, no doubt, whether you're a developer, IT professional, DevOps, security professional, architect, solution architect, or like me, who started my career as a DBA, database administrator, and other things, then probably knowledge of AI machine learning will definitely be helpful as well. Having said that, there are some limitations. I want to be aware. A lot of guys ask and say, hey, can I get a job by doing the certification? So I want to also highlight that this is a very basic certification, and alone with this certification, expecting a job might be a little bit challenging, but it'll definitely help in your entry into those domain as well. And if you're looking for more, this is a very basic level certification, but it'll give you a good idea about AWS, specifically AI machine learning services. Also, the basic concepts of AI, machine learning, generative AI, things like you have the prompts or prompt engineering and so on. But if you want to go deeper, then better would be the next one, which is machine learning associate or professional, which I'll talk about later. Will be helpful as well. There is a huge demand, and I'll go to talk about is how much you can earn and expect in this on this domain as well. So definitely domain, it will be helpful. So in order to nutshell, and I want to keep it short and quick, this video about is that definitely if you want to build your basic knowledge, also foundation knowledge related to AI, machine learning, and or if you want to enter into that space, definitely worth doing this certification as well. So now another question was how much I can earn, which I'm going to cover that, but let me first go back and look at these domain-wise topic where we cover and explain you, and I'll be linking this video link or the guide or the below this video, so you'll have access to this video. But if not, if you're watching this directly, then below this video where you're watching, there will be a link so you can download this guide, the entire document, including these references as well, that will be helpful for you to understand. So in this, as I said, everything is all about AI, machine learning, a little bit of deep learning, and then generative AI, definitely a lot of generative AI as well. So if you want to know more about these differences, you can check out this link, which is on our blog, which is AI, machine learning, deep learning, and generative AI if you're beginner for that. Or you want to go focus on generative AI, you can read that as well. So what you cover in fundamental of AI and machine learning, the basic AI concepts, the basic terminologies, including what I mentioned, plus neural network, NLPs, natural language processing, differences between AI, machine learning, deep learning, what is inferences, type of inferences, both batch and real time. And if you're worried, or if you're not sure what you mean by inference is, in the context of machine learning and AI, the inference refers to the process of using a trained model. So what happens is you have a model, you train, or companies have trained them, like in this case, GPT or AWS's own model, and the third party services or third party companies who are building and training those models. So using those models to make predictions or classifications based on the data, that's basically inferencing. So you will be understanding batch and real-time inferencing. You'll also be understanding the concepts about type of data, which is structured, unstructured, semi-structured, labeled, unlabeled, and so on. Also, there's a learning methods, which is supervised learning, unsupervised learning, reinforcement learning, you'll be learning. So you should have idea about those concepts. Then the another topic, subtopic within this fundamental of AI machine learning is how do you practically use AI? This is one of the, a lot of guys don't know. So where are actually practical implementations of AI in machine learning in terms of decision making, automation, your DevOps, coding, whatever industry you're working, sales, marketing, implementations, manufacturing, all those where. And when are equally important is when are these solutions not appropriate as well. Also, which machine learning technique to pick in based on what scenarios, things like regression, classification, clustering, and so on. Then I have some also real world AI applications like in computer vision industry, or maybe NLP, natural language processing, fraud protection, marketing, as I was saying earlier, finance, fintech, telecoms, and so on. Also, the capabilities of AWS related AI machine learning services related to AWS, things like SageMaker, which is more on a machine learning side, Bedrock, which is more on a generative AI. Also, managed AI like transcript, translate. There are a lot of other things which converts your voice to the text, or the language conversion and so on that you see, which is transcribe and so on, translate as well. Then we are going to look at the entire machine learning life cycle, which is again in fundamentals. So components of machine learning pipeline like data collections, pre-processing of the data, model training, and so on. Then we also look at the sources of machine learning models, which are open source as well as custom model developed by companies like AWS or Meta or Claude, or a lot of other AI5 labs and different things as well. Also, how do you use these models into production environments? Like, for example, managed API through self-hosted APIs which are exposed, or and so on. Also, what are the relevant services within machine learning pipelines? So you have ML pipelines and ML operations. So what are the related services in that? Like SageMaker is one of them. Data Wrangler is another one as well. And the feature store, etc. There are a lot of services are available. Then also concept of machine learning operations. How do you do end-to-end ML ops, like similar to DevOps that you see? Also, there is a model. How do you measure the performance of models, which is model performance metrics like accuracy, F1 score, business metrics like cost of that whole solution, including return on investment, and also AUC, which is nothing but area under the curve. Again, I'm not going to go deeper. You can read those concepts on here as well if you want. But we're going to go deeper inside that. Each of these, if you go inside this program, you will be seeing all these services that you'll be seeing. And inside that, we'll be going and covering all these topics which I'm talking about here. So that's about domain one, which is fundamentals of AI and machine learning. Now I'm debating, should I go and talk about the module number, this is domain number 2, or should I pick up question number 2, which is here, how much do AI and machine learning associate people make? Because that's when uh, that drives me, am I going to get my ROI? Am I going to get a good money as well? So I'll cover that, but let me first go back and look at the second domain, which is fundamentals of generative AI. And that is where you will understand the concepts of generative AI, things like models or foundation model, LLMs, large language models. You have the transformer architecture. You have a lot of terminals like tokens. You have embeddings, LLMs, as I mentioned. So these are the concepts that you should be learning as well. So I'm not going to go in terms of these definitions for now because I want to keep the video short and crisp, but then there'll be all these concepts you'll be seeing them inside the program that you see, and I'm going to show it in a minute. Also, the use cases of generative AI like image generation, chatbots, translations, code generation, image generation, and so on. Then, oh, I already mentioned image generation. Then you have a foundation model life cycle. How do you build these foundation models on a complete life cycle? You're not building as a part of generative AI, but you need to understand the concepts like how do you select the data, how do you pre-train, then fine-tune, deploy those. And as a part of a consumer, you'll be using those pre-trained the models, foundation models that are available. Then, so you understand the basic concepts around that. Then, you need to also know or understand what are the capabilities and limitations of generative AI to solve the business problem. So, what are the advantages of generative AI? What are the disadvantages, which you should also be equally familiar with, like hallucination, inaccuracy, non-determination? It can happen based on the data or amount of data that you have or type of data you have. Also, it should be factors on which you select AI model based on performance, capabilities, compliance, and so on. You should also be familiar with business value and metrics for generative AI like efficiency, conversion rate, accuracy. That's the second topic within second domain, which is fundamental of generative AI. Then uh, you also should be familiar with generating infrastructure and technologies for building generative AI application. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, which I'll be covering it. I'll also refer you to the documentation that you will need in order from AWS and Azure, so you can go deeper into where I'm extracting this information from. So coming back to describing AWS infrastructure for building generative AI. So AWS services for generative AI like Bedrock is a service. SageMaker Jumpstart is another service. Then you have a PartyRock, which is another service. Amazon Q is another service. And within Amazon Q, you have Amazon Q for business, Amazon Q Pro, Amazon Q for developers, and so on. Whereas PartyRock is a recently introduced service, which is a platform for doing your hands-on for generative AI application building playground. You can build your applications, and I think you'll see that inside the program, building that PartyRock as well. Also, what are the advantages of generative AI? What are the benefits of AWS infrastructure, which is bringing and providing you that generative AI, things like security, compliance, high availability, scalability, and so on. Also, what are the cost trade-offs of generative AI services based on token-based or performance-based and so on. So that's domain number 2, which is I think around 22%, if I'm not wrong, or 24% that you go through here. Then once you understand this foundation model, actually the meat or the maximum weightage is around 28%, which is application of those foundation models. So make sure you clear with the concept of foundation model. And if we're going to cover, we'll begin with actually deploying of those foundation models as well. Then, so within domain 3, you're going to look at design considerations for applications that, what are the design considerations for applications that need the foundation model? So in what criteria you to select which foundation model based on the cost, latency, multilingual capabilities, and a lot of other factors as well. Also, what are the inference parameter? What even inference means? The parameters like temperature, top K, top P, input output length on those tokens, and that will dictate uh, the performance of the output of your these foundation models. Also, you should be familiar with retrieval augment generation, RAG, and its business applications. How do you implement them using Bedrock or knowledge base as well? So if you want to know more about, assume you already have a foundation model which is trained on a internet scale data, but then you have your own data. For example, in our case, we are using a lot of tickets that come to the our ticketing system. We can push that, we can point the data source to that particular tickets of pool of tickets, and then give customized response based on that data source that you probably will be covering. Also, there's something called as embedding, and which is nothing but think of it as a word or text or things, converting them to a number format and storing that data. I'm giving you very high level, very like second grade or second school or second standard terminology or in layman's term, but in actual when we go, you'll be learning and going deeper into these topics. So what are the store for those embeddings? So like OpenSearch or Aurora or Neptune or DocumentDB. In fact, we're going to do a lab of RAG in which we are going to use OpenSearch to store the data of these vector embeddings that you will see. Then there are prompt engineering, which technique to pick up for that, and that is where you have a lot of techniques, advanced techniques like zero shot, few shots. Then you have a multi-shot, and then also chain of thoughts of prompt engineering. So understand at least those, and there are more as well on this. Also, prompt engineering context. What is into instructions or model latent space? Again, go and read out this for now, but later we're going to go deeper into what this model latent space. Anything and everything that we are talking about will be understanding. Also, what are the best practices of generative AI? Things like response quality, experimentation, guardrail, which is protecting and making sure that you think of it as a guardrail as a when you play bowling, in that you have a rails to keep ball in a direction in specific location. That's what same thing is protecting the output or response that comes from these prompt engineering as well. Also, risk and limitations of prompt engineering, be familiar, and then also how do you basically uh, safeguard against those risk and limitations. So like exposures, hijacking, jailbreaking, and so on. Again, read on these. We're going to cover into more details. Hijacking, when model is being manipulated, jailbreaking, someone break the guardrails which are to protect as well. Again, will you learn or have the familiarity with those concepts. Then also the training and fine-tuning, the processes of foundation models like pre-training, fine-tuning, continuous pre-training, and so on. And also the methods for fine-tuning like instruction tuning, and then you have a transfer tuning and so on. So if you look at what is instruction tuning, it's a process of fine-tuning a pre-trained model by providing with explicit instructions or a task along with an example. So instruction, basically, as name suggests, transfer learning, basically the technique that you've used for one model or a large data set will be fine-tuned, or similar thing will be basically for another related task as well. Again, I'm going to keep short and crisp to the point of this video so we can go deeper into them, and we'll learn all these things a little bit later. Also, there's a data preparation for fine tuning. So curation of the data, data governance, labeling, representativeness, and don't feel overwhelmed. You'll be learning in a very simple method of learning and understanding all these things. Also describing the foundation model performance. And this is where we will be looking at human evaluation, benchmarking, data sets, and so on. Also, uh, understand on metrics to see whether performance is right or wrong, and there are different methods of calculating this. So there's a rogue, blue, bud score, and so on. We'll be covering all these things as we move forward inside this. Also, assessing whether a foundation model need the business. I think the biggest challenge I see when we're implementing for businesses are they're implementing but not realizing or understanding what is the ROI for that. So making sure that whatever foundation model you pick is meeting that business objective as well for user engagement, for productivity, and so on. So that's domain 3. Domain 4 is for responsible AI. It's big topic, and a lot of companies hire just for making sure that the the AI is being implemented responsibly in the companies. That's around 14%. And this is where you see things like uh, what are the features that will tell you the responsible AI, biasness, fairness, inclusivity, safety, and then what are the tools available, as some of these tools you'll be working as guardrails in Amazon Bedrock. Okay, and you'll see the practical examples of those. Also, the responsible model selection based on environmental considerations, sustainability, and so on. Also, what are the legal risks for generative AI, intellectual property rights, the biased outputs, loss of trust by giving the wrong information by the models, also characteristic of data sets, and then also effect of biasness and variance in, also the tools to detect biasness, trustworthiness, and that is where you have tools like SageMaker Clarify is tool. And then also there's a within SageMaker, then you also have a model monitor to configure. And these things we'll be covering more on a machine learning operations a later part as well, and also within this module. Also, then you have trans transparent versus non-transparent models, and difference between two. How do you quantify or understand them? Also, then tools within AWS tool stack or services to basically to identify transparent and explainable models. And that is where you have SageMaker model card, which is nothing but a documents or cards, or the model cards for to designed to help the document track and contains important information about machine learning models throughout the life cycle that you see here. Now, apart from that, you also have open source models. So we are going to look at some of the brief overview about Line, Sharp, SHAP, and then Li5 and LAB. You'll be looking at these models as well for identifying whether the transparency and explainable models. Then trade-offs between safety and transparency. Also principles around human-centered design. What actually even mean for explainable AI you'll be understanding, or you should have the familiarity. That's module number 4. And then fifth and final module, which is about 14%, plays a big role, which is security, compliance, and governance. And that is where we're going to look at the services in AWS space around securing and compliance as well. So you have, this is where you have identity and access management, which is users, groups, roles, policies, how to implement them, and also you have encryption. So the data is all both at rest as well as transit is encrypted as well. Then you have services like Messi, which is a fully managed data security and privacy services on AWS, and which can be implemented or will be used through your machine learning models, patterns, and so on. You also have private links within AWS space, which is like making sure that the data within the AWS space never leaves on to the public, and it stays within your data center or within your remit that you want to control as well. Also, there is a source citation as well as data origin or documentation on in terms of data lineage. What does that mean? Cataloging, model cards, which we saw earlier. So you should be having a familiarity with those. Again, don't worry, don't feel overwhelmed. This is a high-level overview, and you learn all these things in a simple, easy manner. Also, what are the best practices for securing data engineering? Data quality, privacy, data access control, and so on. And then finally, security and privacy considerations when you're implementing AI, generative AI. So what are the threat detections, application security, encryption, and so on. And then here, the final part, which is going to be on this part, is about governance, compliance, and solution. And this is where you have, especially who are coming from a security background or making sure from the compliance background as well. So there are some regulatory compliance that are standards for AI, implementing AI and machine learning. Within that, we are going to look at ISO. And within ISO, for AI and machine learning specific, there's a ISO IEC 27001. Also, there's a 27701. Also, there is a IEC 23891. So understand these high level basic concepts about ISO. Then security, which is a security operations and compliance, which is again, what are the reports applicable for AI and machine learning. Also algorithm accountability laws. So lot of these machine learning algorithms, um, AI in machine learning is all about machine learning algorithms, ML algorithms. So what those algorithm accountability laws are. Also, from a governance compliant point of view, if you are part of our AWS infrastructure program or a job-oriented program, or you've gone through the basic services of AWS, you probably already know there's things like AWS config, which is another service for governance maintenance, governance compliance, and so on. There's a Amazon inspector, there's an audit manager. So you'll be have a familiarity with these and how these are being used with AI and machine learning as well. Also data governance strategies, logging, monitoring, data lifecycle, and so on. Also, process for governance protocols like policies, what they even mean, what are the review strategies, how do you, what is the process should be, governance frameworks, as well as generative AI security scoping. So there's a lot, but trust me, it's going to be fun, and that will make you a good AI individual. And even though it's a practitioner, you will have full idea and full understanding of these things. I hope you understand and you enjoy, you're getting excited as well. Now, we're not going to leave you anything on guesswork. You'll be getting everything that you need in order this for this. So just below that, under the quick and helpful link, you should be understanding the cloud if you're new, because it's the knowledge is helpful. Also AWS for beginners, that will be helpful. Also practitioner, we're giving you as a part of AI fundamental. You're getting that as a program as a part of this as well. This is about AI job oriented program. Now, with that, you also have the practitioner exam questions, and you can go into this link. On this is where you will go and access this practitioner link. I think might be working question answers. So that is where you will have a, as a time of recording this, you have a 3 set of questions, and with explanation of each answer to these questions as well. So you have set 1, 2, 3, and by the time, maybe if we see more questions, if you find anything, you'll be getting those exam questions as well. So click on any one of those, and you'll be going the explanation of these questions, exam questions. I'll show it to you in a minute on how do you look like, these look like. So you will have multiple set of questions and tons of questions. I think I'll explain you, but each question will have an explanation of answers. And then if you don't know what is, and there'll be hands-on lab related to each of these. Explanation of why answer is right or wrong with the background, why an answer is right or wrong as well. Plus, like that, you have probably multiple set of questions that you see here that I'm going to cover that in a minute. So you'll get all of those things as a part of exam questions as well. Now, with that, let me cover some of the questions. I'm going to cover non-technical questions, and looking at the video size, I wanted to keep it 30 minutes. So if it's a technical question, I'll cover as a separate video. But for now, I'm going non-technical questions, which are important for you. Should I do it or not do it? If yes, how to prepare and so on, and other questions. So is this certification worth? I've already covered. I'm not going to repeat that. But the next question comes, which is here, how much do usually AWS AI machine learning people make? And trust me, when I saw this a couple of years back, I was shocked and surprised. They pay hefty amount. Probably worth reading this report done by AWS on hiring AI skills is the top priority among the consultant. At least 73% of employers want to hire them. But the challenge is they can't find the right AI talent they're looking for. Also on the same report that the consultants, especially from coming from an IT background, um, 47% more they get. So what if you're getting 100 in a normal IT job, you probably might be getting 147 in that. So 47% more with the AI knowledge. In fact, I did a video earlier on the free class in that we mentioned and showed. Let me make it slightly bigger. This video on here. So on an average, yeah. So this is on an average. If you look at 236,000 in the US, low as 180,000 to high as 298,000. Again, I'm not promising and I'm not saying everyone will get it, but you see the market average here. Same thing is with UK, big amount. Canada, 140,000 Canadian dollars on average, but high is 190 or 100 between 120 to 187, 189. Same in India, good amount of, as long as you're good, in my view, money will follow. I think I don't need to even I wouldn't worry about even money. Money will follow if I'm good in terms of this. Also, this is a screenshot from a LinkedIn of generative AI on AWS. You search 180, 140, 200, 240,000 as well. Now, what is the certification? You're probably by now, if you come so far, you already know. Who should take AWS AI? I've already covered. If you're anyone, if you want to build your career into AI, machine learning, and if you're not, even if you're not doing build your career some way or other, you'll be touching AI or generative AI. So it's, I think, worth. Now, they say you should have a 6 months of exposure on AI machine learning. I don't go with that idea. I usually learn all this and implement. So I think, yes, that's a recommendation from Oracle, 6 months of exposure. I personally don't think. Do I need to code for this certification? No, there's no coding, no programming, no knowledge. More about is about AI fundamental concepts, AI machine learning concepts. Prerequisite? No prerequisite. You can directly apply for this exam. There's no prerequisite, but familiarity with AWS services like EC2, S3s, and some of the other services which I mentioned, definitely good on Bedrock and SageMaker briefly. And then I think let me update and add here Bedrock as well, because Bedrock is also you should be doing. Let me make it. So Bedrock and SageMaker, and then other things like monitoring, security, configurations, all those things which I mentioned about as well. How much they are, how will this AWS AI practitioner will help my career? Probably you know by now. Everything that you touch will be touching or using AI, generative AI, and so on. Now, how this AWS AI practitioner different from AWS certified cloud practitioner? And this is where I'm going to go back onto this guide that will understand how these are different or this is. So within foundation, there is two certifications, and in August 14th or August 13th of 2024, AWS launched this. I don't know when you're watching this, but earlier they had this practitioner which talks about all the AWS core services. And if you're part of AWS AI machine learning job oriented, you'll get this uh, by default, but you'll also get, so this is more about his AWS core services and all the AWS services, but AI practitioner is more about is focused on AI and machine learning, more focused about generative AI, machine learning, and associated services. So that's about AI. So AI practitioner is more about AI fundamentals and machine learning fundamentals, whereas AWS cloud practitioner is more about is AWS services and cloud services in general as well. So let's further go down and look at the other questions. I've already mentioned. Okay, I've already mentioned this one as well. Okay, what certification should I do after AWS Certified AI Practitioner? Now, the answer depends where you want to build your career. If you want to go on machine learning AI, then you have a machine learning associate next one. A lot of guys do also AWS Solution Architect associate as well. So, or a lot of guys also do data engineering. So, depending on if you want to focus your career into data engineering side, then you go for AWS Certified Data Engineer. If you want to focus more about is machine learning and more on AI data science, then you will go for machine learning associate. If you want to build your career more on an architect, solution architect, administrator, cloud engineer, then you should go for AWS Certified Solution Architect Associate certification as well. Now, given the time, I'm already exceeded this. I'm not going to cover technical questions, but we'll cover inside each of these modules of the technical questions as well. But to give you module-wise agenda, and for hands-on lab, you can refer to this page, which I'll explain you in a minute here. Now, if you want to look at what the hands-on labs we recommend, you can go to this URL K21Academy.com/AWS AIF 05. But I think each of these modules you will have below that the labs, right from how do you create enable the foundation model. But when you enable the foundation model, if you click on this, there is a separate video that goes about is how do I the prerequisite, any prerequisite for this lab, which is about creating a free account first. So we'll begin with free account and then begin with these hands-on lab. So everything is inside the step by step. You don't need to worry about. There'll be video and guide and any dependency, any prerequisite is all covered for you. So, but if you want to go deeper and read all the hands-on lab, will recommend that you can go by this URL K21Academy.com for AWS AIF 05. And these are constantly changing and improving. New things are coming. Inside the program, you'll have these module wise. So I'm not going to cover this module. You can refer and scroll down this guide. But important point is references. I think that's probably important for you. So for all the hands-on lab, as I said, K21Academy.com for the AWS AIF 05. And for the everything that you need, I think probably this video also you'll see, or you can also see because this is okay. So everything which any changes you can read further there as well, but you'll see a lot of those things on here. So you need to just focus on this particular part here. Also, if you do go from AWS, it's worth referring there. So you click on this link and that will be a starting point for everything about this certification, AWS AI Practitioner. I'm going to show you from here what you can go and do, but there are all other things like about exam guides, all about skill builder where you can practice some of these. There'll be a free resource as well as the paid resources within that. I think all you need is to go through free. Paid is you don't need to worry about. We have already covered inside this program for you. So you will have the link, let it come. Also, there'll be a standard exam prep plan, which is here. Also, there's a exam official practice questions. You can get it from here, and then other practice questions, which I've already mentioned. Now, this is a work in progress document, which means anything that new we found, we'll update this document. So come back again for this this AWS practice this here. Now, apart from that, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. Leave them below this video or also post in our community. You know how you can go onto the community and you can post any questions you have related to this. Also, this is a page you should be bookmarking, and that is where you will be. This is how you'll be scheduling the exam. We're going to go deeper into these things, how to schedule the exam, how to prepare. Also, how to practice these questions. We'll cover that separately in a separate video. I'm just giving you a high-level overview. You can further read out. There are 120 minutes you get. There are 85 questions. There's no negative marking. You have to score, I think, on this. The fees is $75. This is right now in a beta that you will be doing. And once the beta is over, then you'll be full price. I think it's $150 or something like that we'll be doing. But this is where you will have, you can read more about 4-step plan. You can review the exam guides. And then this is where you will have all the links that you see below here from I picked up from here. So worth watching this. Maybe don't feel overwhelmed by the amount of information. Trust me, it's easy and it's simple, and we'll make it simple for you, and you'll be able to clear the certification. Just go. Objective should be to learn these concepts, not to clear the exam. Exam you will clear without any doubt, no doubt about it. I'm 100% confident. But make sure you understand the concept, because these concepts we are going to build on these concepts later. From these concepts we're going to build and go deeper into AI, machine learning, and so on. With that, this is Atul. I hope you found this video useful. Do let me know in the comment section, and also if you have any questions, keep asking those questions so that I can answer those and will improve this video. And after that, immediately after watching this, click on these links and come back onto just below this and look at start your journey from here, right from enabling the foundation model. I learned by actually doing and implementing. And of course, we're going to cover a lot of theory part as well as we move forward inside this program. With that, this is Atul from Team K21 Academy. Thanks for watching this, and I look forward to see you in the next module. Take care and bye for now.